What's going on, everybody? This is Timmy G. You are in the G spot. Um, Couple things we're going to talk about tonight, whatever time it is. All these live streams I've been watching with these people that are putting these out is, they're real close to the camera and they're smiling the whole time, and they're real active, and the camera looks like it's right up here in their face. And I guess it's cool. It's great quality and great sound quality. I'm sure it's a lot better than mine. But I'm just not that fucking happy, you know? I'm just chilling, man. I got Mac Miller up in my ears. I can't put it on here. I don't know what the copyright shit is and if I'm gonna get in trouble for doing anything, but we'll start out with a little bit about me, man. Let's see. I've been in business for myself for about 5 years, so I got a I got a pretty good idea of, you know, finances and kind of how to deal with all that. And cryptocurrency is pretty new to me. And I say that to say everybody on my Twitter, like I said in the pre-video, all they've really seen is a bunch of posts about cryptocurrency, and nobody in my normal real life circle is on my Twitter, like not a single person. So I kind of like that better, and I think that's going to be a better way to kind of edge into this and have me a little bit more grounded in it before I, you know, uh, go mainstream with all that and be that guy that has a podcast or whatever video blog. But yeah, I'm in the commercial and residential glass industry, dude. So we uh we just replaced fogged up glass, and a lot of people were like, "Man, why don't you, do new windows and order new windows?" And I'll tell you why is a lot of these window companies that distribute these windows, they come with a lifetime warranty, and what they're doing to people is when the labor to fix those windows goes past their profit margin, when it's costing them more money to take care of their shit than to keep producing it, they'll bankrupt the company completely. And when they do that, warranties go out the window. There's nobody there to warranty hey, your window's outdated. And that's where all that shit comes from. So nobody can get their windows worked on. We just do glass replacements. That's it. And man, I started out in a S10 with a wooden glass rack. I've been sober 7 years. And that kind of ties into that little S10. So when I got clean, I was a cocaine addict, and along with everything else, whatever you got, I'll take three of them. Just that's fine with me. You know, but well, you don't know. But I got heavy into doing some pills and stuff, and when I was 22 is when I got sober, and shortly after that, I had a baby, and so I'm a family man, dude. And the name G Spot, it wasn't really my name's Tim, my name's Tim, so they call me Timmy G. And then a lot of my buddies, when we get fucked up, they're like, "Hey, G Spot, man, what you want to do tonight?" Most of the time, it was nothing at all. So or nothing good for you. But yeah, man, this is uh this is what I'm wanting to do is just kind of podcast, get some people in here when the count gets up. It's really weird me thinking I'm sitting here talking and there's no viewers on there. So it really needed to be better prepared and scripted to go into. But I'm not going to do that. And that's pretty much been the story of my life is if you think it's what would generally be a good idea, I'm like, no, the only way that I learn anything is by fucking it up. That's how I learn. That's the lessons that you'll never forget, or I will never forget. And I think that that's the only way that anything holds any depth and weight is if you go out there and you make those mistakes and you fuck things up. and make it right where you can. But some things you just can't make right, and that's life. But what a good life to be in, man. And I can think of 1,000 worse problems to have than the problems that I have today. And that's a good place to be. Everybody is relatively healthy today, and everybody's doing, not everybody in general, but everybody in my family and in my direct circle. So we're good. Today's a good day. Um, a, a couple things about me. I had a restaurant that I recently sold out. Well, kept 10% of for investment, but I was half owner, was supposed to be silent partner, and it was taking too much out of me with both businesses. So I had to find somebody to overtake all that, and it worked out good. And got to settle a lot of debt that I had, and all of it was manageable anyway because I don't really like running into debt, but it all kind of settled itself out, and to the point where this is where we are now. And what that is to me, and how that ties into cryptocurrency, which is what most people are going to be watching on it for now anyway, is what do I do? What do I do with that money that I have to get taxed at least 30% on every dollar? Every single dollar I make gets taxed 30% unless I spend that money and put it into something else pertaining to business, which makes my income try to look like zero, and I try to keep it as close to zero as I can on paper, and zero. But it's a everyday battle, and granted, like I said, that's not problems compared to what I had before in my life when I was drinking and using and everything else. This is really, really good problems to have. But nevertheless, they have to be settled with tact and all that stuff. But my idea was to kind of get on here and interview people. I got 2 microphones and have some close friends of mine and people that are also, you know, in recovery, without mentioning anything that don't need to be put on put online, obviously, or anything about nobody individually, but just a anonymous, way to have about it until everybody kind of gets to know each other. But that's not to say that this is a recovery podcast or anything. It's not. This is me, and that's the reason I'm kind of pushing this through. But I found out that the more I go, it's all about time. Is time is more important than anything, and how can I allocate that time towards things to to either make me more money or make me more comfortable. And I started getting in heavily to gambling, which was one of those things where you drop one and kind of you pick up another, and it's been a constant battle with letting things go a little by little. When it comes to cigarettes, I'm like, oh man, well I've stopped doing the cocaine and the drinking that made me feel good, but now I can still do these things. It's just it don't make any sense, But when I got into gambling, I started playing pretty heavy in blackjack, and I have a friend that's really good at blackjack to the point at where some people don't let him play any action. But he's like, "Hey man, why don't you look into this app and this app to get better at playing blackjack?" And I'm just like, "Dude, I know I'm wasting my time. I know I'm wasting my money. And if the me that I was 7 years ago saw me sitting here at this table today doing what I'm doing, because when I got sober, I was dead broke, zero money. The only thing I had was that S10. That was my last tax return. Those were my last hours worked. It was completely, I was zeroed out, and I was 120 pounds. And it was just it was a really rough time, and I went to a halfway house and lived there for about a year and a half, and got out of that halfway house, and I started working back in the industry of construction and glass, and came back home and worked for a company that I hated the owner, but he's actually, I look at him and he's a really good business owner, but just a really bad person, and we got along great while I was working for him. But once I told him I was about to go off and do what I needed to do on my own, he showed me kind of who he was, and that's fine. That's life. But since then, you know, at first I was in that glass truck, and glass truck of just wood standing up in the back of it. And I'm a redneck in Alabama with ropes hanging off this truck and tying big ass glass. I mean, 10 foot long, hanging out of the back of this little 4 cylinder. S10 rocking down the road, and they're like, "Oh, there goes Tim," But man, I was scoring big jobs, and I was doing really good, So I kept on rocking with that, and I got to a point where I needed a little bigger and better truck, and one thing led to another, and now we got 3 trucks out there and 4 guys, and we're running and shops and all that stuff, man, and it's just a blessing, but when it comes to this cryptocurrency, man, as it ties into gambling, I'm really good at investing. It no, I'm not gonna give any financial advice to anybody because, by all means, you do your own due diligence in anything you do, and that's always the way that you should go about it. But my investments has paid off in business really well, and my investments has paid off in actual stocks pretty well because I don't touch it. I give it to somebody else to handle all that. But when it comes to this cryptocurrency, I was gambling, and I was putting something in and just letting it ride, and that's the way that I was going, and I've lost. I started out at, I think, $12,000 is what a little bit at a time. That's the number that I've came up with that I'm okay telling myself with that I've lost, and that quickly turned into 6, and then quickly turned into 3. And when it turned into 6 and 3, I took 1,500 and I put it in MAGA, and I put 1,500 in Brett because I saw a post about this kid and that was his call, and something about made $15 million at however young age, and it was a really cool story. But I remember seeing that little blue guy on the ad because I was on Robinhood scrolling to the bottom of Shiba Inu and amping up all that shit, And I saw that little ad and I was like, well, I'm going to put 15 in that and 15 in this. Well, I guess it was a month and a half ago. MAGA had a good run up to like $17 from like $8 where I bought it, and Brett got up to the level that it is now, and I think it maybe 2.5x, and pulled 7,500 out, and I really just kind of set it there, and it stayed in limbo between that number. Well, I was on here the other day, and this crash. The coin is really new, and shout out to Dicey that got that going because it's an awesome project. Um, but I read into it and looked at it, and I kept seeing, "Oh, man, I go to sleep and I wake up and it's another 2x," or, "I've only been asleep one time that I woke up and it was down," and I had already put in, hell, 6,000 or 5,000 into it because I was gambling just straight up. I mean, just like, "Man, fuck it, let it ride," and and that's the way I was going about it. And, man, but after going to, these, spaces and listening to these dudes and listening to Dicey, like, I can just hear in Dicey's voice that he's a genuinely good guy, and the people around him are obviously amping up a coin, and that's fucking awesome. But, beyond that, it's like, "Hey, man, I'm just doing the best I can. We're doing the best we can with all this." Same with this is I'm gonna do the best I can with it, and I'm not gonna say that it's gonna do anything for you. I feel like this crash token is gonna go stupid, and I'm gonna pull up the chart real quick. Let's see what we got here. Alright. I'm gonna just put it on 1 hour right here. Let's see. So I probably got in about shit. I think it was 23 is where I started rocking in. It was 23 cents. Yeah, up here. There we go. So I put in right here, and I put in a little bit more, and it jumped up, and I pulled out half of it. Let's see, what day is this? Anyway, what ended up happening is I started seeing these little hints that the community was talking about with Crash, and it was really interesting that I was like, do they think this guy's toying around with them? And the more I got digging into it, I was like, holy fuck, this guy is too, and it was just little breadcrumbs of of just, hey, this is gonna do this is gonna do this, and I'm like, y'all, that y'all are already rocking 2x a day, and I'm like, damn, how far can this go? And my thought process behind it is that Crash the token is what I'm with a coin. They got 45 or 4.5 thousand followers, 4,500 followers, and Crash has 163,000. So we're like 2.8, not even 3% of what Crash's following is. Granted, he's spread out pretty thin over several different cryptocurrencies. He's not thin. He's like massive, professional as fuck. But if we can get half of those people to put a dollar in, or half of those people, it's just numbers. The numbers are there, and my whole thing was, if the numbers are there if Dicey holds down and if Crash holds down. But the more you look into Crash, it's like, damn, he's like, hell, fuck y'all. I mean, he don't have to play. He don't have to play that game. So why wouldn't he hold in with 6.9%? There's zero reason why that man would not hold in this. And then, getting to know Dicey more and getting to know the community more, it was just like, man, these fucking dudes are awesome, bro. Everybody here is all about this coin, and there's been several people, and me included. I had to make a public apology today in the group that was like, man, I tried to reposition, and I lost my ass reposition on Crash. So I'm a shitty crypto coin trader, like really, really bad at it, especially meme coins, which people, you can't trade meme coin. I mean, people's made millions, but I ain't people. But as far as a long term play, in my opinion, this is only gaining more traction. Um, that number on the Twitter account was 2,800 to 4,500 in about 2 days from what I've gathered, and from however many followers. I mean, I think it jumped up 4,000 followers to 18,500 followers. I mean, just nuts, stupid progression of a coin, and it's got stupid potential. And it doesn't matter. My main thing is no matter what, for me, since this is on my personal page, is you do what you want. You leave this podcast if you want. You go listen and do what you want to. Obviously, you're doing it anyway. But for me, this needs to be the end of the road for what I do in crypto, because I'm just not. I don't need to dedicate as much time as I like to gamble and study and try to find that position, because one, I'm not capable of it unless I follow somebody else to tell me. But two, I'm one of those that when I'm at the casino and I get down past the risk of ruin, when you're just ruined and done, where I'll literally get mad enough either at myself. I'm not mad at the casino; they're just doing their job. But I'll start throwing it down to just fucking take it. And that was kind of my attitude right when I landed on Crash. I was in a take it attitude. I'm fucking done with this. Here's the rest of the chips. And I learned this about myself with gambling. I was in Lake Tahoe in California, Nevada, and we were me and my business partner were there, and we were both playing. He plays blackjack, and I play everything. I like baccarat and craps and everything, and I bet pretty pretty big. You know, they send us out there for free. If I want to go to the casino, I'll make a phone call. They'll get me out there to go play. And I was like, man, I am in the most beautiful place in the world. I'm out here in California in the middle of the mountains, man, just around this beautiful lake, and I'm like, I'm just sitting in here. I mean, I'll stand at a damn craps table for 14, 15 hours. No problem to stand at a craps table for 15 hours. Zero. I'll make it happen. And I was just like, man, I want to go enjoy it, but I can't enjoy it with this right here eating behind me. I can't enjoy it with this money that I know I'm going to come back in here and play, because if I'm playing, I want to win. If I'm playing it, I want to win it. And if I win it, I want to win big enough for me to be here. So when you start going from, 8,000 down to 4,000, and I got to a point where I was just like, screw it. I'm done. I'm done with this playing. So here, take it. And when I was done, I had the best time going and riding around that lake and just enjoying California and fly fishing out there and doing everything that we did out there. And I got to that point with crypto right when I found Crash. I was like, man, I'm fucking done. Not crash the individual, crash the token. The more I study into crash the individual, I'm just like, what a fucking dude, prodigy, bro. Just he'll leave a legacy, you know. And but crash the token, I was completely done with running any other kind of crypto until it started doing good, and I pulled it back out and tried to do it again. But man, I might say this 60 more times, and I told the guys in the chat, I'm I'm not a liar, I'm a degenerate. I'm a degenerate gambler. I'm not trying to lie to y'all. I don't want to be something I'm not, but it is my money, and it is your money. So if you want to get into something that I believe that's gonna go, I mean, just population wise, I believe it's gonna go through the fucking roof. I mean, I'm talking probably 2 billion, 3 billion, not more. If we can keep crypto going in the world, and we can keep everything rolling, because the rednecks are conspiracy theorists. So it's like, man, if everything goes to hell in the handbasket, then everybody is in the handbasket. So it doesn't matter anyway. That's not to say money doesn't matter. You need to be smart with your money and play your money the way you want to. But not this right here is an investment that easily 5x in the next 6 months, if not more. But these plateaus that this cryptocurrency is getting right now, at the level that it's getting it in, is just beautiful. I mean, most of them you look at have a rather large spike at the beginning of it and dip straight down, and that's rug pull language. But this right here is just rolling up and rolling up, and it's just in another roll right here. And nobody can say what that roll is going to do and in what time frame exactly. But I did watch today Crash, the character, Crash the character, but Crash the actual person, who was a guy that called it. I'm not going to say any names on here. Called something about Land Wolf on Solana being the Infinity Stone that Crash mentioned in one of his posts, and Crash just instantly, dude, with 2 fucking words, fuck no. The coin went from where it was down infinitely until further notice. It'll be down a little bit, which it might recover, but you could just see little jumps in there where people just, tried to hop it back up, and it hadn't happened yet from what I can tell. But I hope they do recover. And that's the cool thing about the community with Crash here is like, dude, we've all been rug pulled, we've all been fucked, we've all fucked ourselves, and you know, if somebody says they hadn't, good for you. But in my opinion, I believe everybody that's been in this game has made mistakes if they're still playing it and trying to conquer those mistakes. But man, the fun of this community letting it ride when this thing starts spiking, when these little grooves start happening up, dude, that is the funnest chat to be in Telegram. And nobody wants to hear that you went bust on anything. Nobody wants to hear that, you know, it didn't work out in your favor. But, you know, same as I believe Crash would say it would be, should have been here where I told you to get to, you know, and that's where we want to be is I told you to get there. If we can get Crash to know that we are really about this business here, that the community really is as strong as we say it is, that we really are having each other's backs here and trying to do something different, then and that endorsement happens, and dude, this is just it's gonna put gasoline on this fire. That's gonna be if you ain't in right here, you know, the plateau is not right here anyway. If he doesn't. If he does, then it's a no-brainer, dude. It's game over. But behind that, Dicey does not, you know, it's not that he doesn't give a shit. He definitely gives a shit, but he is about this business, like all the way, 100%. Job's not over. Anytime anybody mentions anything good happening to him, he's just like, job's not finished, you know. Job's not finished now, you know, and I know he crashed out today and went to sleep, but, and finally he needed to, but dude, just an awesome story of you know, right time, right place, right community, right people, perfect setup, and that's the reason why I'm doing this is to just I built this to do, you know, what I talked about doing, but I'm like, man, the kid is, you know, flipping burgers at In-N-Out Burger, which we don't have In-N-Out Burger. We got Jack's down here in the country. We got Jack's and Milo's, but you know, In-N-Out Burger, and I know what he's saying about we got too many people working. We can offer you $9 an hour. Like, fuck, at 19, dude, I can't even. I know, but it sucks. But it's like, fuck, what else can I do? And to come up with this to this game plan with the way that he has and to execute it the way he has and to take initiative the way that he has is just unprecedented in my opinion. And I think it's just a fucking beautiful thing, you know. And I think it'll do really big things across the market. I think it's the first of its kind made up by the community, with the community, for the community, with him, and made up by him. But everybody is 100% drank the Kool-Aid. Awesome. You know, if it dips down, they're just like, buy more, buy more if it dips, because it ain't done, dude. It ain't close to done. It is straight up juice, in my opinion. But if you're watching this and you're not in it already, just do your own due diligence. This isn't fucking trading advice. Y'all know it ain't trading advice. But man, I wish I had comments in the chat to read and ask some questions. And hell, I'd like to see if these. It says I got 2 people watching. If you can post something in the comments just so I can see how it pops up on my screen and how that's gonna run, that would be dope as fuck. But when I did the StreamYard thing, it said I get 10 free participants. So I doubt that. I don't even know if they're bots or if they're real people. Okay. Now that we're done with that spill, I really just want to be comfortable on here and not have to like do a sales pitch, because that was not a sales pitch in no way, form, or fashion. And that's why I don't like having plans drawn out on a board, because I feel like I have to hit everything somehow to make it sound good together. And I'm just like, dude, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. It's about just doing and being who you are and who you want to be. Um, yeah. Well, this is fun. That's 30 minutes in. So, a little bit more about myself, man. Is when I sold that restaurant, I went and bought a damn excavator. So, like, I've been watching my fucking crash and tearing down houses with this fucking claw and just so I get to tear buildings down all day. So that's fucking cool. And man, I don't really want to sit in here and act like I'm tooting my own horn or anything's going on that's just, oh, look at me. But man, like, life is fucking fantastic. And if this goes fucking parabolic, bro, life's gonna be like you might retire. I might retire. I'll never stop working because I love doing stuff with my hands. I love building stuff. I built this behind me right here out of an old fireplace. I got pictures that I'll post of me taking it apart and putting it back together. It was a fun little process. Um, but yeah, and oof. So man, if you yeah, if anybody's got any information or anything about what I could do better, about maybe camera angle, or if you have any advice on like working with this sound equipment or anything like that, and if my voice is off or if anything's off, because I feel like I'm trying to speak really clear, and so it's like I'm trying too hard, but I really shouldn't have to try too hard. So for a while, it'll probably be just me in here trying to get comfortable with myself and with doing all this. Like, I mean, I know who I am. I'm not worried about the people around me or me knowing who I am or anybody caring and or thinking me caring what they think about me or anything like that. Cause I really don't give a fuck. Like, genuinely do not fucking care. But anything I do want to do it well, and I think that's what's gotten me where I am in life is no matter what I'm doing, I want to take the time to learn it, to do well at it for myself because I met my first billionaire last month and he's 95 years old and he got retired from a steel company out here locally and he told me he was like, "Man, so they didn't give me a loan. Nobody would give me a loan. Nobody would do anything for me. They would only, you know, nothing." It was 1954 is when he got laid off from that steel company. And this old man told me that he started a sand company selling sand to concrete businesses. And he said that when he sold out of that first sand company, excuse me, when he sold out of that first sand company, they wrote him a check for $299 million, and he turned that $299 million and went and opened up a bank, and now he owns 3 steel companies, 98 rental houses, and because when I got to the property, I was like, man, this is a really nice place, dude. Um, and it wasn't anything too special. Like, I mean, there's areas out here that are just immaculate houses on top of mountains that I work on. I mean, much bigger houses than what his was, much nicer architecture than what his was. But beautiful land, everything pruned and kept real nice. And he said, "I bet you think I stole it." And he was like, "I paid this for this house." And I said, "Man, that's a good deal. You gonna come out like a bandit on this." Well, the more he got talking, he said, "Man, in 2009, they were selling me houses for $1. I was picking up other loans for $1." And I was like, "Really?" But he owns a bank, so first dibs to foreclosures and all that stuff. But just talking to this dude, I was just like, "Man, I'm really glad that you are telling me all this because everybody that I talk to, I feel like I'm crazy." Because it's always another business idea. And it's one thing to have an idea to start a business. It's another thing that, like, I actually go and do it. Like, I actually, show up, and my girlfriend will get home and look in the backyard, and there's a fucking excavator sitting back there, or a new, it's just it's always something turning, and I can see where like my mom or my dad would look at it and be like, man, that's because they were raised job, and the way I look at it right now is I can respect people being raised job. And I think that job is a very, very honorable thing to do. I think that's awesome. I think that it is, you know, they did well for providing for my family when we were growing up, and not leaving us hungry or starving. Now, hamburger helper 4 days a week and all that shit, but I had a good mama, and but I can see where it sounds crazy. It's like, "Oh, man, he's starting another business. He's doing this, he's doing this, he's doing it. Where the fuck does he say?" And I'm always saving. I know where my money is down to $2,000. I know roundabout that's my fluctuation point of, if I'm I'm not saying I have $2,000. It's like I know what's allocated where at all times. So when crypto started fluctuating the way that it was, I was just like, "Oh my god, dude, I'm about to fucking lose it if I waste this." But don't play with anything. Don't play at all. In my opinion, gambling and investing are two different things. If you're playing a game with crypto, you're there is a chance that you'll get lucky and win. But if you're investing in it in a long-term project that you feel like is going to stay here, and I feel like Brett, I feel like Crash is going to stay here. I know Brett's going to stay here a very long time. If you're if you're holding that down and actually putting it in there for long term, then population only increases. And that's why, I trust in crypto almost as much as I trust in real estate. The only difference is it's something that I can touch. It's something that I also have to, pay taxes on. Which you got to pay taxes on crypto when you make money on it, unless you know how to loophole everything, keep it running back through. I don't. But we're gonna cross that road when we get there, when we actually make some money, not when we're struggling to get back even, which I'm even now with what I got in Crash. So that's another awesome thing. But where was I at? What was I saying? If somebody's live and actually watching, if you can just post a comment for me so I can see how it pops up, that would be great. We are very ill equipped to be doing a live broadcast, but there's only one way to learn. Um, but like I said, I love what I do. I hadn't had anything happen in business to where it was just a catastrophic loss. Now the restaurant industry, I tell people this all the time, is any any experience you have in the restaurant business that's not a bad experience is a good experience, and that's about as far as it gets. Now that being said, I did make good money doing it, and I did come out with good money, but still, what it required to do it was just, and that was partially my fault with how much I had going on in my other endeavors. So, I had to do what was best for that business and my business partner there, and still kind of keep enough for me to be able to sleep at night and still be a part of it. And now it's doing, since I've got out, it went from doing 24,000 a week to up to 35,000 a week, and they're just, man, knocking it out of the park. And that's kind of what you get with this community and Crash. It's like, man, people are so happy to see other people doing good. If somebody was come in and say, man, I made this on this, man, that's fucking badass, dude. That's awesome. That's why we're here. Because banks ain't paying but 5% on a CD investment, dude. That's it. You getting 5%. You lucky to get 15, 10% in a Roth or an IRA that you're not going to be able to see until you're 55, 65 years old. So that ain't worth a shit either. And if you can make it make sense with cryptocurrency to where you're pulling out, and I would like to see the charts and look deeper into the charts of how many years run consecutively that these pay out at this percent, kind of like a stock market chart. You can look at year to date on every year. But the funny part is generally every 4 years or 5 years, somewhere in those years, there is one that is down within 5 years. Well, me as a business owner, if you open up a business, 4 out of the first 5 years, you can claim a loss on that business, and you should if you can. That's not to say you don't need to make money, but you need to pay do what you wanna do. I need to pay myself a salary and then, claim a loss and reinvest it back into the business, but just 1 out of those first 5 years is what you have to, claim a profit on if it's possible, if your business doesn't do well, which in my opinion, it all goes off of you. I don't have a problem. I do have a problem opening up into a business um, plan. I don't have a problem opening up into investing in somebody. If I'm investing in somebody, at least I know, they got skin in the game too, and we're going to see who they are, and you have a better chance of them doing well with it. That's not to say I'm like using people. I mean, I love investing in other people, and if they have an idea, I'm like, man, let me do this on it for this much percent. Let's make it happen. Because and I didn't have anybody do that for me, but I know that I always needed them to. I always needed somebody to, it's not that I need them to. I made it happen anyway, but it would have been a lot easier to just have somebody there to just like have a hand back there, and if you can get that in a business partner, then you got it made. But if you're investing in yourself, man, you're good. Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit if you're investing in yourself because, dude, if you're gonna make it work, if you're a fucking dog, if you're gonna go out there and make it happen anyway, no matter what, I don't care if I got to go up here to my restaurant or to my cousin's, whatever, and wash a car. As long as I say I'm making this much money a day, no matter what, I might have that day where I don't, and I might have the next day where I make this, just double that, and that'll counteract it, and you'll make it work, and I believe in the law of attraction and manifesting stuff to happen. There's just been things in my life that I know were going to be impossible unless constant thought of it, a constant desire for it, a constant step towards that direction to make those things happen. And sometimes that constant step is not stepping at all, and that's the weird thing is if you can just stay still and do nothing. Sometimes most of the time, generally the best thing to do is nothing at all when it comes to dealing with what's going on between these 2 ears. Now action is you formulate a plan for that and you execute, but as far as making crash decisions, especially with crypto, just put it in and let it fucking ride, you know, or not. It's your money. But in my opinion, I've done better. It ain't an opinion. I've fucking done better when I've just let it ride and invested. But on with everything else, man. I appreciate anybody that came in here and listened to this, and I hope that this keeps going, and I'll try to run a little bit better next time. I wish I had more news. All the other crypto guys that I see running these are just constantly like Shiba is dog and bone and leash and then man, crash is it. Crash is king, and just put it in there, let a little bit ride. You put $10 in there, you'll be happy with the outcome later. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. So I'm gonna shut this down, and any input would be awesome, and it's welcomed. And constructive criticism, I'll decide if I'm going to take it or not, or do anything. But I don't mind anybody saying what they mean and meaning what they say. I can respect that more than anything else. But thanks for coming.